Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today is Saturday. It is 27th of April, and it is Vaishakha Masa or Madhusudana Masa, Krishna Paksham, Saviti Tithi. So there are no Vaishnavas today, so we shall quickly enter into Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, so Saunaka sages, and especially Saunaka sage is speaking to Sutta Goswami to say more about conversations happened between Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami. So it was mentioning those topics can be discussed among the devotees. So they are always blissful. They are always taking the shelter of Krishna. Kata Harikata Udarkaha Satam Sihu Sadasi Dhruvam. They must be discussed among the devotees association. So likewise, he was glorifying one side Parikshit Maharaj, saying that when he was childhood, he used to play with the uh, dolls, Krishna dolls, and he used to imitate kind of worshipping of Krishna like that. And he was a Bhagavata, Mahabhagavata, and Maharadaha. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pandaveyo Maharadaha. Bala Kridanakaihi Kridan, Krishna Kridam via Adare. So likewise, Savanaka said one said glorifying Parikshit Maharaj. So today he is glorifying Sukadeva Goswami. So describing Parikshit is a devotee and Sukadeva Goswami is a devotee. So they both have got so many good qualities, divine qualities, and both are devotees of Krishna. So when they coming together, there must have been much of discussions about Krishna. So likewise, Savanaka sages today is glorifying Sukadeva Goswami. So he is saying the son of Vyasadeva, Sukadeva Goswami, he is the pure devotee of Lord, son of pure devotee of Krishna, and he has got so many divine qualities. So there must be some discussions between them. So likewise, Savanaka sage is saying we are in the second canto, third chapter, and verse number 16. वैयासकिश्च भगवान् वासुदेवा परायणः गुरुगाय गुणोधाराः सतां स्युः हि समागमे वैयासकिः च भगवान् Vayasarkihi. So the son of Vyasadeva cha also, he is also Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayanaha. And Bhagavan, he has got a Akunta Medasam. He has got all the knowledge of the transcendental knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vayasarkihi cha Bhagavan, he is mentioned as Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayanaha. Vasudeva Parayanaha. He is the pure devotee of the Lord, and he is attached to Krishna, son of Vasudeva. Vaiyasa Krishna Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayanaha. Purigaya Gunodaraha. Purigaya is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna who is glorified by great philosophers. Purigaya Guna Udaraha. And he is having the great qualities. Udaraha. Guna Udaraha. He is having all the great qualities, all divine qualities. So devotees also, they derive the qualities of Krishna almost in a minute quantity. Urugaya gunodaraha satam chihuhi samagame. Satam of the devotees, syuhu is the must have been he, samagame. So he definitely or certainly, samagame. Satam Chihuhi Samagami. So they come together. So that's why there might have been some discussions about the devotees and Krishna and everything else, all the transcendental topics. Vayasa Krishna Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayanaha Gurugaya Gunodaraha Satam Chihuhi Samagami. So translation for this verse. So Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, was also full in transcendental knowledge and was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, son of Vasudeva. So there must have been discussions of Lord Krishna, who is glorified by great philosophers and in the company of great devotees. And purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Can I request any unallocated devotee to read the purport, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I read please?
Yes, Mataji, please.
The word Satam is very important in this verse. Satam means the pure devotee. Satam means the pure devotees who have no other desire than to serve the Lord. Only in the association of such devotees are the transcendental glories of Lord Krishna properly discussed. It is said by Lord that his topics are all full of spiritual significance, and once one properly hears about him in the association of the Satam, certainly one senses the great potency and so automatically attains to the devotional stage of life. As already described, Maharaja Parikshit was a great devotee of Lord from his very birth, and so was Sukdev Goswami. Both of them were on the same level. Although it appeared that Maharaj Parikshit was a great king accustomed to royal facilities, whereas Sukdev Goswami was a typical renouncer of the world, so much so that he did not even put a cloth on his body superficially. Maharaja Parikshit and Sukdev Goswami might seem to be opposites, but basically they were both unalloyed pure devotees of the Lord. When such devotees are assembled together, there can be no topics save discussions of the glories of the Lord or Bhakti Yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita, also, when there are talks between the Lord and his devotee Arjun, there could not be any topic other than Bhakti Yoga. However, the mundane scholars may speculate it on in their own ways. The use of the word cha after Vaisakya suggests, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, that both Sukdev Goswami and Maharaj Parishit were of same category, settled long before, although one was playing the part of the master and other the devotee. And other the disciple. Since Lord Krishna is the center of the topic, the word Vasudev Parayanaha or devotee of Vasudev suggests devotee of Lord Krishna, the common aim, although there were many others who assembled at the place where Maharaja Parikshit was fasting. The natural conclusion is that there was no topic other than glorification of Lord Krishna, because the principal speaker was Sukdev Goswami and the chief audience was Maharaja Parikshit. So Srimad Bhagavatam, as it was spoken and heard by two principal devotees of Lord, is only for the glorification of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Oh, thank you.
Here in this purport, so Prabhupada is glorifying the association of devotees. That when two devotees come together, Satam. Satam is the pure devotees of Krishna. They do what they do. They'll always glorify and talk about only Krishna, nothing else. So likewise, Prabhupada, even Sukadeva Goswami, he is the renouncer of the world, and he did not even put cloth on his body. But superficially, Maharaja Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami on the transcendental plane. They both are the devotees. One is the Roy, one is the king, and one is the renouncer. But so that doesn't make so Janma Ishwarya Sribihi Edamana Madatman Naivaharati Abhitatmavai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. So whoever has got the pure devotional service, for them Krishna is revealed. So here Parikshit, even though he is a royal and king, and he is a pure devotee of Krishna because he has got such devotion. Since childhood, he used to dovetail all his games and plays, worship everything with only Krishna. And also on the other side, Sukadeva Goswami, since birth, he is completely detached from this material world. And then later on, he has taken Aditvan Dhvapradho Pitudvaipayana Daham. So this Idam Bhagavatam na Brahma Samhitam. This Bhagavatam he has taken. So whoever is completely purified from the material entanglement, they only can take Bhagavatam. No one can. That is, Krishna also mentions Brahma Bhutaha Prasannatma na sochati na kankrati. Tamah sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. Only for them, madbhaktim. My devotional service can be, they can only can attain the devotional service. Madbhaktim labate param. They only get, not other people. So that is, Prabhupada is glorifying. So here, glorifying of two devotees here. Likewise, and also giving between the conversations between Krishna and Arjuna. So Arjuna was inquiring each and everything scrutinizingly, and Krishna was telling everything properly, as a teacher, spiritual master, and a proper disciple here. So whenever the inquiries are made, then only the topics would be emanated to discuss further and further. Likewise, Saunakadi sages and Sutta Goswami, Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami, Vidura and Maitreya Rishi, Narada and Brahma, Vyasa and Narada Muni, Yudhishthira and Narada Muni. Likewise, the conversations happen, they go deep into the Krishna and philosophy and understand. So they would make all our the senses calm down first of all, and then they will surpass the senses. Sagunan samtitechan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So it would not make the mode of passion, mode of ignorance, or goodness, which is called of this material world, they will be subsided, and it will be bringing us onto the pure goodness, Vishuddha Sattva. And then we understand that nature of Krishna. So that is the conversations of this is full of spiritual. So that is Prabhupada is mentioning here. And then here Vasudeva Parayanaha, devotee of Vasudeva. So both are devotees of Vasudeva. So likewise, Prabhupada is explaining the two principal devotees of the Lord is only for the glorification of the Supreme Lord. It is not that I glorify you or you glorify me. It is not just only there. But devotees, they glorify other devotees because they are in relation with Krishna and how they have been devoted. That way, that is the one to qualification to glorify. So likewise, Prabhupada is mentioning here. Okay, that is from Srila Prabhupada's purport. Likewise, Savanakari sage is glorifying Sukadeva Goswami. Vayasakisha Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayanaha Urigaya Gunodaraha Satamsyuhu Hi Samagami. That is from Srila Prabhupada's purport and Bhagavatam. We shall quickly move to Srila Prabhupada's daily letter. So today we are going to take big letter. So maybe it may take longer time. So today it is letter to Hanuman Prasad Poddar. I think at least 2 devotees may be needed. Can I request Sanchita Mataji to read at least half of it? It will take long time. And wherever it is possible, you can just give some important points in between so that instead of going back at the end at once. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. My dear Bhaiji Hanuman Prasad Poddar, please accept my obeisances. I hope by this time you have received my acknowledgement dated yesterday for your letter dated January 26, 1970. If you want to publish a comprehensive article about my activities in the Kalyana, I think it is proper to give you a short history of my coming to the Western world. Sometimes in 1922, when I was acting as a manager at Dr. Bose's laboratory limited, I was fortunate enough to meet my spiritual master. His Divine Grace Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivrajak Acharya uh, Ashtottara Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. On the very first meeting with His Divine Grace, he asked me to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya in the Western world. At that time, I was a young man and a nationalist, admirer of Mahatma Gandhi and Chittaranjan Das. So I replied him at that time, who would care for the message of Lord Chaitanya while we are a subject nation? In this way, I had some argument with my spiritual master, and at the end, I was defeated. By that time, but at that time, because I was already married, I could not take his words seriously. So, till here, so in this letter, Prabhupada is writing to Bhai Hanumanji, so Hanuman Poddar, telling him that he can publish his activity. He wanted to, this gentleman, he wanted to publish about regarding Prabhupada in his magazine called Kalyana. So he said he will give, Prabhupada will give a brief history about what he did and how he came to the Western world. So he said in 1922, when he was working in the pharma industry, he met his spiritual master and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, and that time he straight away on his first meeting asked to preach him in the Western world because Prabhupada was very good because he had done his degree in Sanskrit and English, so he had the potential to uh, teach in the West. At that time, Gaudiya Math, most of the disciples, his other disciples were Bengali, so they were not so fluent in English. So that was a big hindrance. So he asked Prabhupada. But Prabhupada that time, very naturally, he was a young man, and then our country was under the British Raj. So he wanted he wanted to fight. He followed the principles of Mahatma Gandhi and Chittaranjan Das. He said, why should we do that in the West, go to the West when our own country is under the British Raj? So, but after a debate, he was defeated. So, yeah, then he continued. In this way, I passed. But Prabhupada, of course, he could not follow his instructions, spiritual master's instruction immediately as he was a householder. So, in this way, I passed on as a householder, but by the causeless mercy of my divine master, that order of preaching was impressed on my heart. I was initiated regularly in 1933 at Allahabad when Sir Malcolm Halley, the then governor of UP, opened our Gaudiya Math branch there. Then in 1936, my spiritual master left this world, leaving a message for me that if it would be better for me to preach in English language. I was thinking very seriously, and then as late as 1944, I started my paperback Back to Godhead. Gradually, in 1954, I retired from my family life and began to live alone in Mathura, Vrindavan. In 1959, I was awarded sannyas by one of my god brothers, His Holiness BP Keshav Maharaj. Then I began translating Srimad Bhagavatam in 1960, and perhaps in 1961, I was your guest in the Gita Bagicha. You were very kind to help me partially for publishing my first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam through the Dalmia Charitable Trust. With great difficulty, I then published the second and the third volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam until 1965, when I prepared myself to come to this country with some books. So here Prabhupada gives a timeline how he got initiated, first initiation, then second, and then a spiritual master left his body and he left him a letter that he wanted him to preach in English language. After that, Prabhupada took sannyas and he came to he left his family in 1954 and he came to live in Mathura Vrindavan and started translating Srimad Bhagavatam. And it was then, I think, he met Hanuman Poddaji in Gita Bagicha, who helped him to publish the first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam through Dalmia Charitable Trust. And then later, of course, these takes a lot of fun, and initially it's difficult when not many people know about it. So it must have been really difficult for Prabhupada to publish the second and the third canto. And then he started with the three cantos. He came to the Western country. Yeah, with great difficulty, I was able to get the P form passed by the controller of foreign exchange, and some way or other, I reached Boston on 17 September 1965. I was thinking while on the board of the ship Jaladuta why Krishna had brought me to this country. I knew that Western people are too much addicted to so much forbidden things according to our Vedic conception of life. So, out of sentiment, I wrote a long poetry addressing Lord Krishna as to what his purpose in bringing me to this country. At that time, I was sponsored by a friend's son, Gopal Agarwal, who is settled up in this country by marrying an American girl, Sally. I was their guest, and I feel very much obliged by Gopal and his wife, Sally, for their nice treatment and reception. I was with them for 3 weeks in Butler near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then I came to New York. I was getting some money by selling my Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus, I was maintaining myself in New York. After some time, I rented one apartment at number 171st Street West. But after a few months, all my things, typewriter, tape recorder, books, were stolen. Then, for some time, one of the students gave me shelter at Bowery Street. So here Prabhupada mentioned that how he managed to get permission from the foreign exchange, and then he took on board. He was like, we know that part, like how Sumati Muraji, she helped to get a ticket to Jaladuta, and he came to this country, and on the way he had 2 heart attacks, and he was like thinking why Krishna has sent him here, even like they didn't follow the Vedic lifestyle. And he was very sentimental, and he wrote a long poetry to Lord Krishna, asking him what's the purpose to bring him to this country. And when he came here, he was sponsored by one of his friends' son, Gopal Agarwal, and his wife Sally, where he lived for 3 weeks in Butler, Pennsylvania. And then he moved to New York. He was selling Srimad Bhagavatam, and that's how he was able to sustain himself. Then he went to a one-bedroom flat in New York after a few months. But there, unfortunately, his typewriter, tape recorder, and books were all stolen. And then one of his students, he gave him shelter in Bowery Street. I then rented one storefront and an apartment in 26 Second Avenue for $200 per month, but without any source of income. I started my classes, and sometimes on Sundays, I used to chant Hare Krishna mantra in Tompkins Square Park from 3 to 5 p.m. During this time, all the young boys and girls used to gather around me. Sometimes poet Ginsberg would come to see me, and sometimes a reporter from New York Times came to see me. In this way, the Hare Krishna mantra chanting became very popular at the Lower East Side. So here we see that Prabhupada, without any income, just surrendering everything to Krishna, he rented this apartment storefront on 26 Second Avenue. for $200 a month, and he didn't have any source of income. So after his classes on Sundays, he used to chant the Hare Krishna mantra in the park, Tompkins Square Park, from 3 to 5 p.m. And all the young boys and girls gathered and they chanted. And one of the poets, Ginsberg, and the reporters from New York Times, they also gathered, and that's how the like mantra, this mission spread it in the east side. In this way, the young generation became attracted, and gradually many branches were opened one after another. After New York, the next branch was opened in San Francisco, then in Montreal, then in Boston, and in Los Angeles. We have now the following centers in the States, Canada, Europe, Japan, and Australia. See insert sheet A following page 2. My activities in London were begun as early as September 1968. I sent 6 of my disciples there, all of them young couples, husband and wife, and none of them more than 26 years old. These boys and girls first started Sankirtan movement in London, and there were very nice reports about them. Even the Times of India printed one article with the caption Hare Krishna chants startles London. So here Prabhupada then goes on to explain how his mission spread. The young boys and girls joined, and in one after another, from like New York to San Francisco, Montreal, Boston, and Los Angeles, the mission spread, and then went to Canada, Europe, Japan, and Australia. And then in 1968, September 1968, 6 of his disciples who were married couples, not more than 26 years old, they started the Sankirtan Party movement in London, and the reports, and there was nice feedback, and of course we know there we had the support of Beatles, so it gathered momentum more quickly than I think in New York. And there was a report in the article in Times of London that Hare Krishna chant, like a nice report which gathered attention of many people. In London there are many Indians, especially Gujaratis and Punjabis. All of them were astonished to see how American boys and girls are preaching Hare Krishna mantra. They were invited to many centers, both by the Indians and Europeans, but it was very difficult to find out a suitable house there in the midst of the city. My Guru Maharaj linked to start centers in the busiest part of a city. So 40 years ago, my Guru Maharaj attempted to start a temple there, but some way or other it was not possible. Still, I cherished a strong desire to start a temple in the heart of the city. But Lord Krishna's grace, these boys and girls rented a 5-story house in the busiest quarter of central London at 7 Bury Place, which is near the British Museum, London University, Great Russell Street, and Bloomsbury Square. The British Museum is just a few stones on the left side of our temple. Our activities are going on regularly in London. There are about 35 English and American boys and girls. So Prabhupada explains how his boys and girls who came to in London, they initially found it difficult to find a house in the busiest part of the city, and he explained that his Guru Maharaj wanted to do that 40 years ago, but he could not succeed in that. But with Krishna's mercy, they managed to find in central London a 5-story house in the 7 Bury Place near the British Museum. And many Gujaratis and Punjabis, the Indian community, they used to come, and they were astonished how the Westerners, they were able to preach Hare Krishna mantra in London, in the heart of the city. And they came as like 6 couples, and later, like very soon, they became like 35 English American boys and girls. Regarding the number of ashtamas, our temples are already listed above. The deity worshipped in the temples are Jagannath Swami with Balaram and Subhadra and Radha Krishna. When we first start a temple, we start with Jagannath Swami. My Guru Maharaj recommended temples of Jagannath in these countries. So I was inspired to establish first of all Jagannath Swami, because he is kind even to the mlechas. Then, when there is an opportunity, I establish Radha Krishna Murti. So, generally, in all our temples, Jagannath Swami and Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan pictures are invariably there, and gradually we are installing Radha Krishna Murtis in each and every center. The program of the temple worship is as follows: early in the morning, before sunrise, there is Mangal Aarti. At 8 a.m., there is addressing and decorating of the altar daily. Then between 11:30 and 12, Bhoga Aarti. At 5 p.m., opening of the doors and Dhoop Aarti, as well as Boilakik Bhoga Aarti offering. In the Boikalik Bhoga offering. In the morning, we offer fruits and milk to the deities. At noon, we offer rice, dal, chapati, vegetable milk, sweet rice, and many other varieties. In the Boikalik Aarti, we offer fruits again. Then there is Sandha Aarti after dusk, and at 9 p.m., we offer bhoga of puri, vegetable milk, sweetmeats, etc. Then there is Sandhya Aarti, after which the deities rest. This is the general program of worship. We decorate the thrones with profuse flowers, changing the dress and ornaments daily, and as far as possible, the deity platform and the temple room are kept neat and clean always. So, Prabhupada here explains that in our temples, he made sure that we have Jagannath deities, Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra Devi's deities, because he is most merciful to the mlechas, and Lord Chaitanya's picture is always there. And then if it's possible, then he gets Radha Krishna Murti in the temples. And he explained what is the routine, that program for the temple worship, that in the morning we start with Mangal Aarti, then the Darshan Aarti, and he has given the timings, then the Bhoga Aarti, and then the Dhoop Aarti, and then in the evening, and then the Sandhya Aarti, and after that, like we finish at the Sayan Aarti. So he's given the timings about and what is offered in each of the Aartis, and he expects that he makes sure that the temple is kept clean and always neat and clean and tidy, especially the altar. The devotees take bath twice daily. The government of UK has passed a bill to hand over the redundant churches to other religious sects, but the Christian authorities want good amount of money for selling these properties. So none of the have uh, churches have we been able to acquire on account of the exorbitant price, for which I have not got money to pay, but they are available. In London, we saw a redundant church, and also in Oxford. They were very nice for our purpose, but the negotiation is very slow. Some other churches are also available in other districts, but they can be purchased. The government has no such scheme to place these unused churches at our disposal. How can we expect the government to give us any financial help while our Indian government does not allow any money to be brought from India for this purpose? How can we expect financial help from another government? Our financial budget is managed by Krishna's grace only. Undoubtedly, we have huge expenditure. For example, in our Los Angeles temple, we spend near about 20,000 rupees in our Indian exchange per month. But the devotee boys and girls somehow or the other collect this huge amount. And by the grace of Krishna, we have no difficulty. In most of the centers, our activities are in rented houses. Only in Boston, Buffalo, we have our own houses. In Boston, we have got our own press, ISKCON Press, where our books and magazines are published partially. The major portion is printed outside our press, especially in Japan. So Prabhupada explains like this is um, so important that and he felt so helpless that the government of UK had passed a bill that the redundant churches where hardly people go, there's no um, worship in the church, no church goers, and they were empty. And the government said, they can be sold. But the Christian authorities, they had a big, huge ego, so they didn't want to sell. They wanted to sell for a huge amount of money, and Prabhupada didn't have that money to spend because these churches were huge buildings and nice. They could have got many, but they did not manage because they didn't have the money to buy one. He wanted to buy one in London and Oxford, and he was saying that negotiations are very slow, and when the Indian government is not allowing any financial help, like to get money from India for this purpose, then how, he said, we can't expect that from another government. So the budget was very tight, and most of the temples they had in different parts of the world, they were rented. Only in Los Angeles they had their own temple, and they had this expenditure was huge per month. It was in 20,000 Indian rupees. Somehow the boys and the girls, they collected that money and they managed, but um, the other places were rented. In Boston they had like ISKCON Press, where the magazines and books were partially printed. Most of the magazines were printed in Japan. You want me to continue?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Okay. The government in is neither encouraging or discouraging. Sometimes the police department prohibits our Sankirtan party when they go out in the street. In the United States, this hindrance by the police is not very much, but in London, they have practically stopped us. In Hamburg and Tokyo, they are also not very strict. They are not also very strict. In the beginning, we have difficulty everywhere, but by now, as people in general are appreciating our movement, that we are devotees of the Lord, boys and girls are have nice behavior and character. They give us, as far as possible, all concessions. The government draft board has accepted our society as religious, so they are kind upon us. But we do not get any direct financial help either from the government or big foundations. Neither have we been able to contact the richer sections of the people. Our initiation systems is as follows. In our general thrice weekly classes, we chant Hare Krishna mantra in the beginning and at the end, and in the middle we speak on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam regularly. In this class, we do not prohibit anyone to come within the temple. Everyone is welcome. The only thing we ask visitors is to leave their shoes at the specified place and sit down in the temple cross-legged. If somebody finds difficulty to sit down cross-legged, we offer him a chair. So, out of the members of the audience who come regularly, when one becomes more interested, he is invited to participate in the program of Krishna consciousness, daily life, and study. After some time of appreciating our program and trying to understand our philosophy, when someone is very interested and recommended by the temple commander for becoming initiated, I accept him and give him first initiation in the form of Harinam in a regular ceremony with fire sacrifice. I chant Hare Krishna mantra on the 108 beads, and then the beads are offered to the disciple um, with a change of name as Krishna change of name as Krishnadas. He is advised to strictly follow the regulative principles of 1. No eating of meat, fish, or eggs. 2. No taking of intoxicants, including coffee, tea, and tobacco. 3. No illicit sex life. And 4. No gambling or mental speculations. So Prabhupada mentions that. Prabhu, can you please just go top, scroll up here? Yeah. Funding is and that's what Prabhupada had been mentioning all over, that the Sankirtan party London in USA, it was not stopped so much, but here in London the police keeps on stopping them. But that in general, public people are interested, and the boys and girls, they have nice behavior, and they are understanding that they are serving they are spreading the Maha Mantra. So people in general, they are getting interested. And then Prabhupada explained the program, how it runs in the temple, like thrice a week they do. Weekly classes, and then Mahamantra chanting there in the morning, and Bhagavatam classes and Srimad Bhagavatam regularly. And everybody is welcome in the temple. Only thing is they have to leave the shoes at a place which is asked and sit cross-legged. And like those who cannot, they are offered chairs, as we see normally in the temple. And how, like, people in general, if the audience, they are interested, then in the day, then they get involved and participate in the daily life, who come regularly after appreciating. They are like if they're interested in studying the philosophy, they are offered to do that. And if they come regularly and show more interest, then they're initiated. And he mentioned, Prabhupada mentioned that how he chants their beads, 108 beads, and they're offered. And there's a initiation ceremony with a fire sacrifice, where they have to take the vow of the 4 regulative principles and chanting 16 rounds minimum daily. So yeah, in this way, after 6 months at least, when he is found habituated to the Vaishnava principle, then he is initiated for the second time with the sacred thread. This sacred thread ceremony is recommended in the Hari Bhakti Vilas or the Vaishnava Smriti by Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami recommends that by the initiation process, one is elevated to the position of a twice born Dvija. This is recommended under the Pancharatrika Vidhi. Under Vedic Vidhi, a student is required to be a bona fide son of a Brahmin or twice born. But according to Srimad Bhagavatam, if there is no regular samskar beginning from Garbhadharana, one is considered a Shudra. But a Shudra can be elevated to Brahmin's position by Pancharatrika Vidhi. This is instructed by sage Narad to Yudhishthir in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam as follows. On this verse, Sridhar Swami has given his commentation that birth is not always the criterion for becoming a Brahmin, but the quality is most essential. In the Bhagavad Gita also, the caste system is made by Lord himself according to the qualities and engagement. In Srimad Bhagavatam, also it is stated as follows. Kirtana Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha अभीरस शुंभ यवन खाशदायः ये 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 अन्ये च पाप यदुपाश्रयशय शुध्यन्ति तस्मै प्रभाविष्णवे नमः. So here Prabhupada mentions that after 6 months, if they strictly follow the Vaishnav achars, then he's given the second initiation with the sacred thread, and it's mentioned in the Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sanatan Goswami or Vaishnav Smriti. And he mentioned that if a person is not born as a Brahman, then the scriptures mention that with the proper sanskars like Garbhadharan sanskar, then he is allowed to the Srimad Bhagavatam allows them to be like have second initiation, give the sacred thread with the ceremony, and then he becomes a Brahman. So it's mentioned in that Krishna also, he did this like varnashram system, and everybody according to their profession they can be graded in which varna he should be. So it does not depend upon the birth. So our initiation process is executed according to the authorized regulatory principles. This is the sum and substance of our initiation process. In the beginning, they are given Hare Nama, and during sacred thread ceremony, they are given Gayatri and 18-letter Krishna mantra. Then the disciple chants daily the Gayatri mantra thrice, morning, noon, and evening. The beads are chanted a minimum of 16 rounds daily, and in other words, 27,648 names daily. I am enclosing here with some printed copies of the rules and regulations, 10 kinds of offenses, etc., which is regularly observed by the students. Hope this meets you in good health. Yours in the service of the Lord, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Shama Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So he's explained that how the initiation process is done. Like for the first initiation, they are given the Maha Mantra, and for the second one, they're given Gayatri Mantra and the 18-letter Krishna Mantra. And the disciples are asked to chant Gayatri Mantra thrice, morning, noon, and evening. And so the beads the chanting should be minimum 16 rounds on the beads, and finally he gives a figure in number like 27,648 names daily has to be chanted after second initiation. And he has enclosed all the rules and regulations and the 10 kinds of offenses and everything, and mentions about the temple and all as additional information for Hanuman Buddhaji. So that is, yeah. So Prabhupada, I mean, he is explaining in brief, like Prabhupada, he explains the entire Krishna consciousness movement, how it is done, like temple worship, how he came here, how his struggle briefly, and how his mission spreaded, the temple worship and the initiation process to this gentleman, and maybe so that after knowing the process, he can associate with Prabhupada and help him in the Krishna consciousness movement. That's my realization, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Please forgive me for my mistakes if I've missed something. Hare
Great.
Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for kindly and patiently reading very large letter. Of course, there is another part, second part is there. So it is a kind of number of books which are published and what is their price. And then further, there is attachment of, it's kind of a second part of the letter, maybe different, back to Godhead is compressed kind of thing in German. I don't know if we can continue or we can take this one as separate part for next tomorrow. I think it's very long if we take this one as well. So we continue tomorrow, this one tomorrow. Okay, so we stop here on the Prabhupada's letter. I request dear devotees, if you have got any other comments on this letter, Prabhupada's letter, kindly share.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
You said like we do the Gayatri after the second initiation. So like a Gayatri mantra or...
Sorry, Mataji, we can't hear you. Could you please be?
Sorry, I'm just saying that here Prabhupada mentioned that after second initiation they do the Gayatri with the
Yeah.
rice. That means like Gayatri mantra.
Yes, Mataji. So I think due to as a mantra cannot be said in the letters or something like that, Prabhupada is mentioning just indication of it, index of the mantra, 18 letter and the Gayatri, just like that.
That is only can do after second initiation.
Yes.
So we cannot chant Gayatri mantra just without any initiation.
That we so here, Prabhupada, this is a formal process. Prabhupada is giving in the as part of the second initiation. So Gayatri mantra thrice, we need to take bath 3 times. As a month thrice, morning, afternoon, and evening. Trisanja. Morning when the junction between the night and daytime, and junction between morning and evening, that is 12 o'clock, something like that, and evening junction. That is if you are following all these things, we can take the initiation and follow all these things. But we need to be aware of all these things. We wanted to do it, but we are not ready yet. So that means you are ready to take the second initiation as well. So first for that one, we have to follow a regular process. First initiation and then second initiation, then we chant. But keep the desire in the heart and then work towards it. That is
So
the one you can do.
second initiation, there is something you have to do course or anything? How does they give second initiation? Because before Prabhupada just gave after like, but now they
Yeah.
strict isn't.
Yes, Maharaj. So after the first initiation, so if 6 months are observed, okay, Radha Sevaka Mataji wanted to say. Yes, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is just something that like when I took my first initiation, I was offered my second after I spent, just as Babu was saying, like I spent time in Vrindavan and with my godbrothers and sisters doing service and things. And then they asked me if I wanted to take second initiation. But the way I judged it at the time, like I was following the regs and everything, and I was obviously trying to do my best, but internally, like I didn't feel I was ready myself. I think inside as well, like that my anatas were they were still popping up. Um, I didn't. There were just little things like I didn't know. I was like so like I think from inside. So and then your guru knows as well.
So just one point I want to take here. So generally, naturally, we are materially embodied, and naturally, we are not clean. Naturally, we are not pure because the process itself purifies. That's why we take the initiation. We are determined to do it. Actively, internally things, it will go by the time. When we are following three sanjas, doing all these things, the internal things, it will go, will succeed it. But externally, are we doing it or not? That is the matter. Internal ones, automatically we are training the mind, purifying the heart. Chetudarpana Marjanam by the process of all this second initiative and chanting of Gayatri mantra. That is, so the process it will make us to be purified. So we do not have to think about my heart is not yet ready, something like that. So that means we are ready. So if you are ready to take the second initiation as well. So this is my opinion.
Yeah, I know they said to me also, but I don't know. I think because I know I know me more than anyone does. I just thought maybe this is like at the time because everything happened so fast for me as well. So at the time I should have, yeah, I should have. But I don't know that, yeah.
Yeah,
But I agree. There's so much pure. I mean, you people are much more pure than I am. But um,
that's what pure devotees think, Mataji. So, but we do not have
honestly,
to.
like some of the things like even that come into my mind, I'm just like, oh my God, like you know, I feel like quite there was like I still had I this week though I like sometimes like you just going about your day and everything's fine and then something just triggers you and then but the triggers get less but it's for me it's taken years it like I can see my journey and we like I can never say yeah like I'm like it, they were hard at the beginning. I think when you're in dharms the purification is very fast, it's very hard hitting. um and then here is the purification is a little bit slower, but again I think it's still deeper as well. And then you're just trying to weed. It's I don't know if we are trying to do it, but the process, like Prabhu said, the process works. So the mantra is those really deeper things that we don't even, like subconsciously, they're all like because we've been conditioned in this country, certainly, like, certain levels of comfort. Uh the worst one for me, I thought I was, even before I was initiated, I thought I'd completely overcome was envy. But then envy, those ones still pop up now and then, but not as much, maybe every so often. Um, but yeah, I really wanted to, yeah, like I really I understood the process. Like before I didn't understand it. I was like, oh, this is easy because there was always joy in saying Lord's name. But for me, I think the purification process did happen. Like it wasn't easy for me. Like, some people say, oh, it's always easy. Like for me, it wasn't. So that's why like I'm sharing it because like at the time I didn't feel I was ready. But I think you're absolutely right. The more we do take to Lord's name, the more shelter we give. I think for me, the question was, can I keep it to a sustainable level that I can always say, yes, I'm always going to do the Gayatri 3 times a day. It was just making sure that was I in a stable position to do that because of work and other commitments and stuff. So I think I thought about all those things. Whereas in India, it's like everybody's just their focus, like especially if you're living in the dhams, the whole focus is on Krishna. So maybe if I hadn't compared, when I compared myself to them and myself, I was like, these people are like, they're constantly absorbed in Lord. They haven't got any of these things that I have got. So I think for
Yeah,
me,
here the main thing is whether we have got the circumstances physically this 3 times a day that I am chanting mantra, and there are no other impediments, no other responsibilities of material things that would stop me doing this. When we have got circumstances practically, it doesn't matter. So internally, if you're Kirada Punandra Pulinda Pulkasha Abhirumba Yavanaha Kasadaya Yeniche Papaida Pashriyasyaha Sujjinitasmai Prabhu Vishnave Namaha. This is Sujjinitasmai. It will purify everything, whatever the category we are coming from. As long as we are able to execute physically, internally we might have anything, all kinds of that, but when we are able to do physically these things, waking up early morning and doing and following all these principles, chanting of Gayatri mantras and following regulative principles, that makes everyone bring them to the transcendental plane and they're ready. So that is a bit. Thank you so much, Mataji, for kindly sharing those moments. And
Hare
also,
Krishna.
Hare.
Panchatattva Vidhi means what?
So this Narada Pancharatra Vidhi. So this is this is coming from all the rules and regulations that Upasana Kanda. We are Upasana Kanda Bhakti Yoga. That is coming from Pancharatrika Vidhi. And Sanatana Goswami has given us Hari Bhakti Vilas. All these things. So he has given what are the rules and regulations to be followed.
They need to be read before get the second and see what is in there. It's like that.
Yes, Mataji.
Hmm.
We will come to know all these things. So once we take first initiation and then following few these principles, and then after 6 months, then we can observe if whether we are ready for the next one as well. And are there any impediments or any other responsibilities that would stop me? That we need to assess. So, and then
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mata.
Can I give my little light to it? I'm not going to take long because it's the main thing. What you said, Prabhu, is right, is correct. But the other thing is, if you are toying with the idea, you got to question yourself. Why do you want? What is it in it that you were looking for? You know, what's the meaning of it to you? Is it that you want to show, oh, look, I've been initiated twice, I'm a senior devotee, I can do this, I can do that? Or is it from the purity you develop from the first initiation? So as you say, you become, it's like passing your driving test. You're just starting to grow. You're learning and you're actually putting your heart in it and you get the best out of it. But if you're going to be thinking about your physical or your internal emotions and dwell on that, it will really poison the process, I think, personally. So I think everybody carry their own baggages and their own package, and they deal with it as they go along. And it's good to share it, but is it this forum to share it? I mean, I think we're just talking about. I didn't get to hear the question, but when and how do you know? You would definitely know. You don't have to put the on a plate that, oh, this is what I'm carrying. I think it gets more infected then. So you have to focus on what the first initiation says. Chant 16 rounds and do your service and keep focusing. This is it, is the focus. If we're going to focus all over the place, because the mind takes you all over. So I think you have to try and channel your thinking and your mind in the way the first initiation teaches you. Haribol, sorry. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes. So, Meena Mataji, that is how one has to understand. So first is first initiation, then we observe, and then if you are ready for the second one, no impediments, then take the second initiation. And if we have done all this first initiation principles properly. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. And thank you, Jackmakan Mataji and Radhesheka Mataji. Any other comments, dear devotees, on this? So that is from Srila Prabhupada's letter. So it is a very long, and it is giving you the entire process of Krishna consciousness activities, bringing from neophyte to complete pure Brahmana stage by following the Pancharatrika. Okay, so that is, and from the announcement point of view, so today evening we have got Krishna Katha or regular Bhagavad Gita session at 7 p.m. And dear devotees, if you have got any other events you wanted to share on Krishna consciousness, anything, so kindly share. Otherwise, we move into Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are two more verses in the second canto, chapter 9 to complete. At least we cover one verse of it. Hare Krishna. Okay, so if there are no updates, then we shall move to the second part. That's our Saturday topic morning. So second canto, chapter 9, and verse number 46, 45. So here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami is speaking about the history of Bhagavatam. After Lord spoke Bhagavatam to Brahma, Chatushloki Bhagavata, and gave instructions, and then he left. And then Sukadeva Goswami is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj about the how Narada has received by satisfying his father Brahmadeva, and then he got that knowledge, and then he has given that knowledge to Vyasadeva. So that is kind of history. So here coming from the 43, so Tustum Nishami Pitram Lokanam Prapitamaham Devarshi Paripapracha Bhavanyanman Anupruchati. So Narada pleased his father, and then he questioned all those things about the Yed Param, Yed Adhisthanam, those things. And Brahma has given that knowledge to Narada Muni. Tasmaidam Bhagavatam Puranam Dasalakshanam Proktam Bhagavata Praha Pritaha Putraya Bhotakurut. So that is the part of Sudhu. Thereupon the supplementary Vedic literature Srimad Bhagavatam, which was described by the personality of Godhead and which contains 10 characteristics, was told with satisfaction by the father Brahma to his son Narada. So until that we have read last Saturday. So we shall do the 45 verse. So here, this is also we have read only the translation. Nardaha praha munaye saraswatyah tatendrupa jayate brahma paramam vyasaya amita tejase. And here, in succession on Srimad Bhagavatam, O king, the great sage Narada instructed Srimad Bhagavatam onto the unlimitedly powerful Vyasadeva, who meditated in devotional service upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, on the bank of the river Saraswati. This is Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pranihite Amale Apasit Purusham Purnam Mayam Chatad Apashrayam. So in his devotional service, when he was meditating, at that time he has seen Supreme Personality of Godhead completely Apasit Purusham Purnam completely, and Mayam Chitad Apashtim, and also the Maya which is behind Krishna. Mayam Chitad Apashtim, taking the shelter of Krishna. And they both are side by side. If one is not with Krishna, then he must be in the Maya. So likewise, we have seen. So we continue with reading the purports. So this is Naradaha Praha Munaye Saraswatya Tatendrupa Jayate Brahma Paramam Vyasaya Amita Tejase. So we shall read the purport. Can I request dear devotees to read the purport? So here this purport is having. Okay, can I request two devotees for this one? So from here to the up to here. Hare Krishna. Can I request any volunteer devotees to read? Yes, Mataji, please.
In the fifth chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada instructs the great sage Vyasadeva as follows. Atho Mahabhag Bhaga Bhavan Amogha Dvarka Suchi Sarvaha Satya Rato Trata Vrataha Yuri Karmasya Akhila Bandha Mukti Samadhin Anushamara Tad Vishistatam.
But we can't hear you, Mataji.
Sorry, yeah. O great fortune, pious philosopher, your name and fame and universal, and you are fixed in the absolute with spotless character and infallible vision. I ask you to meditate upon the activity of the personality of Godhead, whose activities are unparalleled. So in the disciplic success of the Brahma Sampraya, so in the disciplic success of Brahma Samprayat, the practice of yoga meditation is not neglected, but because the devotee are bhakti yogis, they do not undertake the trouble to meditate upon the impersonal Brahman. As instructed here, they meditated on Brahma Puran or the Supreme Supreme Brahman. Brahman realization began from the impersonal influence by further progress of such meditation manifested of the Supreme Soul. Paramatma realization takes place and progress for the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is fixed. Sri Narad Muni, as the spiritual master of Vyasadeva, knew very well the position of Vyasadeva, and thus he certifies the quality of Srila Vyasadeva as fixed in the absolute truth with great vow extra. Narada advised meditated upon the transcendental activities of the Lord. Impersonal Brahman has no activity, but the personality of Godhead has many activity, and all such activity are transcendental, without any things of material quality. If the activity of the Supreme Brahman were material activity, then Narad would not have advised Vyasadeva to meditate upon them. And the Param Brahma is Lord Sri Krishna as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna realized this factual position of Lord Krishna, he addressed Lord Krishna in the following words.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So here, Prabhupada is explaining about how the history of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Ato Mahabhaga Bhagavan Amoga Dhrup Suchisravaha Satyarato Dhrutavrataha Vrikramasya Akila Bhanda Muktaye Samadhina Anusmara Tad Vichestitam. Oh, Vyasadev, you are Amoga Dhrup. You can see the future perfectly. Suchisravaha Satyarato Dhrutavrataha, being and following the principles by the cleanliness and satyarataha, drutavrataha, following all the complete determination, what we need to do. Urkramasya akila bhanda muktaye samadhina anusmara tad vichestitam. By meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you compile all the tad vichestitam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all his activities. So you, and then after that, Vyasadeva has compiled all these things, Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and then, so this kind of conversations happen between Brahma and Narada before. So now that's why Narada was able to give these instructions to Vyasadeva. So Narada, he also asked Brahma, Yadrupam yad adhisthanam yatah srustam idam prabho yat samstam yat param yatcha tattvatam tat tattvam vada tattvataha. So he asked all these inquiries from Brahma, and then Brahma spoke all those things to Narada Muni. And so Narada Muni asked Brahma, Yad Vijnano Yad Adharo Yad Parastvam Yadatmakaha Ekaha Suji Bhutani Bhute Revatma Maya. Can you please everything all these things to me, my dear father, Brahmadeva? So these things explained later on by Brahma to Narada Muni about the Virat Rupa and also the Supreme Personality of God. How he creates, how he destroys, how he maintains those activities. Whatever we have studied, read in the second canto, in the first and second chapters about Virat Rupa, those were again repeated by Brahma to Narada. So already Sukadeva Goswami spoke to Parikshit because that conversation has already happened. That's why he was able to do it. So here, that knowledge here, meditation, happens on the Brahma Paramam. That Brahma is the Vadanti Tattat Vidastattum Yajnanamadbhayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Sabjate. 3 levels. Brahma is the Brahman light. And second level is the Paramatma, the Lord in the heart. And third one is the Bhagavaniti, the complete Supreme Personality of Godhead, the person. It is not imagination or something. It's not formless. It is person who is full in 6 opulences. Aishwarya Vairagya Yashobodha Viri Shriya Puttam Aham Prapadje. That is 6 opulences. Aishwarya, Vairagya, Yasha, Avabodha, Virya, Shriya. That Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Narada Muni, he spiritual master of Vyasadeva, so he knows that the well position of Vyasadeva, and thus he certified the qualities of Srila Vyasadeva as fixed in the absolute truth with a great vow, that is Satyavrataha Drutavrataha, that is Drutavrataha. Narada advised meditation upon the transcendental activities of the Lord, Tad Vichestitam. And then further, without any tinge of material quality. So if activities of the Supreme Brahman were material activities, then Narada would not have advised Vyasadeva to meditate upon them. By the time itself, Vyasadeva has given Mahabharata and all the Vedas and Puranas. Now, the coming to the transcendental platform, Param Brahma is Lord Krishna. So that is what Arjuna also addressed Krishna as the Param Brahma, Parandama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. So can I request other devotee to read next this? verses onwards until the end of the purport, please. Anyone entry devotees? Sita Sundari Mataji, Junaid or Ram Lala Prabhuji?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Do you like to read or I will?
No, you can.
Okay. Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam. Oh, sorry. Bhavana Purusham Shashratam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Biham Ahushatat Rasya Sarva Devarshi Narada Ashita Bash Ashita Devala Vasya Shayam Chaiva Bhavishya Me. Okay, sorry for my pronunciation. Arjuna summarized the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita by his realization of Lord Sri Krishna and thus said, "My dear personality of Godhead, you are the supreme absolute truth, the original person in the eternal form of bliss and knowledge." And this is confirmed by Narada, Ashita, Devala, and Vasudeva, and above all, your personal self has also confirmed it. Bhagavatam 10.12.2.13. Bhagavad Gita, yes, sorry. When Vasudeva fixed his mind in meditation, he did in Bhakti Yoga trance and actually saw the Supreme Person with Maya, the illusory energy, in contraposition. As we have discussed before, the Lord's Maya or illusion is also a representation because Maya has no existence without the Lord. Darkness is not independent of light. Without light, no one can experience the contraposition of darkness. However, this Maya or illusion cannot overcome the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but stands apart from Him, Apurushiyam. Therefore, perfection of meditation is realization of the personality of Godhead along with his transcendental activities. Meditation on the impersonal Brahmas is a troublesome business for the meditation as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 12.5. Kesho Dikhatarastesham Abhyaktasyam Sitasam. Sorry, Prabhu, for my pronunciation. Hare Krishna. Is it finished, Prabhuji?
One more verse, small verse is there, Mataji. Yes, Mataji, that's all for this. Thank you so much, Mataji. You have read very beautifully.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here, Prabhupada is bringing about Arjuna's statements. Param Brahma Parandhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavam Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. So, my dear Krishna, you are Param Brahma and you are Parandhama, you are the ultimate shelter. Pavitram, completely purified. Paramam Bhavan, you are the transcendental. And Purusham Shashvatam, you are the eternal personality. Divyam, divine. Adidevam, you are the beginning. Adidevam, the first person. Adidevam, Ajam Vibhum, you don't take birth, but still you appear here for the sake of devotees in your own transcendental form. Adidevam Ajam Vibhum, and you are Vibhum, all personality, all opulences in full. Ahustvam Vrishya Sarve Devashi Narasata Asito Devolobhyasaha Swayam Cheva Bhavishimi. So Ahuhu, so many people said, who are they? Ahuhu, Swam Rishyah Sarve, all the great sages, Devashihi, Narada, similarly, Asita, Devala, Vyasa. The personalities they have already confirmed. Now you are confirming Swayam Chaiva by your personality directly speaking to me. Chaiva Bhavishimi. So likewise, Arjuna is glorifying Krishna. So Prabhupada is bringing that statement here. So that's why Narada asked Vyasadeva, you compile all about the pastimes that them about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then later on, what Narada Vyasadeva did, he fixed his mind in the meditation. That is Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pranihite Amale. Apasyat Purusham Purnam Mayam Apashrayam. So Mayam Tadapashrayam. Maya is, it doesn't have any independent existence without the Lord. No existence without the Lord. So darkness is not independent of light. This is everyone experiences. How one can see the shadow? If he is standing in the light, then he can see the his shadow. So shadow is always uh, taking the shelter of the light. Shadow is taking the shelter of the light. Okay, so that is how Prabhupada is explaining here. And then there is a light to here. Once again, darkness is not independent of light. And without light, no one can experience that contraposition of darkness. That is, this is Maya or illusion. Okay, so that is how Prabhupada is explaining Apashrayam. That is depending on Krishna. And then meditating on the impersonal light that is coming from Krishna, it is very difficult for the materially embodied for people. See, this is Kleshodikara, Tesham, Abhyakta Sakta Chetasam, Klesho Adikataras. So this is Klesho Adikataras Tesham, Abhyakta Sakta Chetasam. So it is very difficult to meditate on the impersonal. This is Krishna's statement from the Bhagavad Gita. Dehavadbhir avapyate. So because we are embodied, we have experience only seeing the other people, either it is a dog or cat or a human or a tree. We have got the experience of only the personal forms. We haven't got any experience which is formless. So that's why Krishna is mentioning it is very difficult here. Kleshodikaraha, tesham for them, abhyakta sakta chetsam. It is very difficult to digest because avyakta hi gati dukkam. It is too very difficult for those who are embodied, materially embodied. They dehavadbirhi avapyate. It is very difficult because of they got material body. They have not seen by themselves at that is their spiritual form. How can they experience the spiritual form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So that is Krishna's instruction. And Prabhupada is mentioning here. So now if you glorify Krishna, then that will make your endeavors compelling of all the Vedic scriptures, it makes the complete. That is the instruction by Narada Muni to Vyasadeva here. So I request any dear devotees, if you have got any questions or you wanted to add anything else, kindly add. Okay, so that is from the 45th verse. So Naradaha Praha Munaye Saraswatyaha Tate Drupa Jayate Brahma Paramam Vyasaya Amita Tejase. So Narada spoke to Vyasadeva and then Vyasadeva in his meditation he has compiled it. So we shall move to the next verse. Whatever is this is the last verse of this chapter. So here Sukadeva Goswami he is saying so how the universe has emanated from the Virat Rupa and Parikshit Maharaj, I have explained already all these things like in the previously. Likewise, this is kind of a conclusive verse by Sukadeva Goswami. यद्भुताहं त्वया पृष्टो वैराजात् पुरुषादिदम् यतासीत् तद् उपाख्यास्ते प्रश्नान् अन्यांश कृष्णशः यद्भुताहं त्वया पृष्टो यद्भुताहं त्वया पृष्टो. So whatever yadbhutaham and whatever you have questioned me by you tvaya prushto, by yourself you have asked me all these things. Vairajat purushad idam. This is the Virat Rupa, universal form of the Lord. From the Vairajat Purushat, from the personality of Godhead, idam, this material world. And yata asid. So yata asid tat upakyaste, and I have already explained. Before also he has explained about the Virat Rupa. And Prashna Nanyamcha Prashnashaha. Now he is going to further elaborate. So because Narada got that knowledge from Brahma, and Brahma gave to Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva gave to Sukadeva Goswami. In the beginning, he has given little indication to Parikshit Maharaj. Now he is going to explain in detail further. Krishna Shaha in great detail. So that is going for further conversations between Maitreya Rishi and Vidura. Maitreya Rishi gives more elaborations, and he also brings the conversations between Kapila Deva and Devahuti. So that is Yad Bhutaham Tvaya Prushto Vairajat Purushadidam. Yad Asit Tad Upakyaste Prashnan Anyamsha Krishna Shaham. So translation for this verse. Can I request any devotees to read the translation and purport as well?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I read please?
Yes, Mataji, please.
O King, your questions as to how the universe become manifested from the gingiatic form of the personality of Godhead, as well as other questions, I shall answer in detail by explanation of the 4 verses already mentioned. As stated in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this great transcendental literature is the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge, and therefore all questions that can be humanly possible regarding the universal affairs, beginning from its creation, are all answered in Srimad Bhagavatam. The answers depend only on the qualifications of the person who explains them. The 10 divisions of Srimad Bhagavatam, as explained by great speaker Sukadeva Goswami, are the limitations of all questions. An intelligent person will derive all intellectual benefit from them by proper utilization. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the second canto, 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Answers by citing the Lord's Version. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. So here, Sukadeva Goswami is concluding that I will explain further. I have given a little indication before, and by the Chatushloki Bhagavata, and also I will explain in greater detail later on. So and Prabhupada is bringing this transcendent Nigama Kalpa Tarur Ghalitam Palam Sukumukad Amrita Drava Samgitam Pivata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhiraho Rasika Bhui Bhavukaha. I request dear devotees, you by heart this verse. When you recite this verse itself, you feel so much of nectar on it. Nigamakalpa tarorghalitam palam, sukumukad amruta drava samgitam, pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhui bhavukaha. So the first 3 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, they are very beautiful. Whenever you by heart and remember them, and when you're re-saying such kind of explanations, you remember those verses immediately. Our mind, that is how dharana happens. Mind doesn't go to different material things. It will always stand at the lotus feet of Krishna. All the verses bring one's mind, intelligence, and his activities to diverting to lotus feet of Krishna. That's why dharana, reciting again and again is required. Hearing again and again is required. So this is ripened fruit of the tree of the Vedic knowledge. And so now all questions that can be humanly possible regarding the universal affairs beginning from its creation are all answered in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are explained by Maitreya Rishi to Vidura, and that is Kapiladeva to Devahuti. How this universe has come in the beginning, it was the 16 principles. Karnodak Sai Vishnu, he has Lord has expanded as a Karnodak Sai Vishnu, and then Karnodak Sai Vishnu entered into the one universe cell, and then having the universal egg cell, it is having the 7 layers, Saptavadrihi, and within that, these material ingredients existed, and then when he comes, then he takes a form of the Virat Rupa form, and from his Virat Rupa form, all the demigods they form. So out of forms Agni Deva from the mouth and the eyes, the sun and everything, they emanated from there. Out of those things, Chitta, the consciousness, and the deity of the consciousness, when he entered into the Virat Rupa, then he stands and then perform his activities. Those are detailedly explained in the later in the third canto. So that is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada's purport here. And these are the 10 divisions of Srimad Bhagavatam. Atra sargo visargasha sthanam poshanam utayah manvantar ishanakato nirodho muktirashriyah. Dasamasi visvajadham navanam ihalakshanam varnayanti mahanatmaha sutenadhyena chanjasa. So this is the only 2 verses of the next chapter. This is coming from the 10th chapter. So this is the 10 topics what are being covered here. It is the Atra Sargo Visargasha Sthanam Poshanam Vatayah. So just bringing here. So the first verse is Atra Sargo Visargasha Sthanam Poshanam Vatayah Manvantara Ishanukata Nirodho Mukti Ashriyah. So Sri Sukadeva Goswami said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 10 divisions of statements regarding the following. Number 1, creation of the universe. Number 2, sub-creation. Number 3, planetary systems. Number 4, protection by the Lord. Number 5, creative impetus. Number 6, change of manus. Number 7, the signs of God. Number 8, returning home back to Godhead. Number 9, liberation and the Samam and Bonam. That is the 10th. That is the shelter. Samam and Bonam. And then to isolate, this is Dasimasya Visuddhyadham Navanam Ihalakshanam Varnayanti Mahanatmaha Sutenadhyena Chanjasa. Just to explain furthermore, and the 10th topic, that is Samam and Bonam. All these 9 topics, the first 9 topics are explained. See, to isolate the transcendence of the Samam and Bonam, the symptoms of the rest are described sometimes by Vedic inference, sometimes by direct explanation, and sometimes by summary explanations given by the great sages. But explained so in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto, Krishna were completely explained and glorified. To bring all the topics nearer to Krishna, the first 9 cantos are explained step by step to bring one's consciousness divert matil vihitanu harehe katayam. That is where all the pastimes, the nectarian part is embedded in the 10th canto. That is Samam and Bonam. See, that is to isolate the transcendence of the Samam and Bonam, the symptoms of the rest are described sometimes by Vedic inference. These are until 9 cantos. Sometimes by direct explanation by Sukadeva Goswami, Brahma, Narada, and these are the authorities. And sometimes by summary explanations given by the great sages. So they give their opinion, matam. So that is their opinions, their explanations, so that will bring one's consciousness pure, bringing to understand Krishna perfectly. That is Srutena Ardhena Anjasa, by direct Srutena Anjasa summarily. So these are the topics. This is the Chatishloki Bhagavata. The Lord spoke, and Sukadeva Goswami and Brahma, they have experienced and realized all these things. So I stop here. Dear devotees, if you have got any questions, kindly add or raise, share anything you wanted to share and add. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for showing us the 10 topics. So in Bhagavatam, we see that, the Kali, the last canto, like age of deterioration, that is also explained. So, so here it's, Sukadeva Goswami is not meaning the cantos, right? The 10 divisions. So will it come under the
Yes,
creation itself, the creative impetus? Because there is a canto for creative impetus, but and creation of universe, but Kali deterioration is also separately mentioned. And normally we see in the 12th canto of Bhagavatam, but it's not mentioned here.
yes,
That's
Mataji.
what I was wondering.
You're right. It is not specifically the cantos, but here generally cantos are creative one canto, and about the Lord is another canto, like that. Each canto, but still each canto contains all the topics in some proportion. All cantos contains all these 10 topics in some proportions, but that proportion is prominent. In the second canto, some proportion is prominent. Third canto, impetus is prominent. In the fourth canto, another topic is prominent, like that. But all cantos inclusive of these 10 topics. And even all the 12 cantos, even the 11th canto, 12th canto as well. But importantly here, Dasimasya Ashraya, this is the shelter, where they take the shelter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, Mataji, you are right. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Just wanted to ask basic question, Prabhu, because I haven't attended these classes, and sometimes I come randomly to attend this. So I just wanted to understand what is Chaturshloki Bhagavad, Prabhu, because it's in Bhagavad Gita also, no, Chaturshloki, but the slokas are different. What I noticed.
Yes, Mataji. So these are the Chatishloki Bhagavata. What is Bhagavad means? Whatever the Lord spoke directly from his mouth. Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Lord Krishna. So likewise, for Brahma, when he has come from Garbhodak navel of Garbhodak Sai Vishnu, he doesn't have anyone except Garbhodak Sai Vishnu. So at that time, he meditated, and then later on he pleased the Lord. Lord has come, and then he spoke statements for Brahma. So for his creation, for the creation, what he needs to do. And so at that time, the 4 shlokas, that is called, this is the second canto, chapter 9, verse number 33, 34, 35, 36. These are the 4 shlokas, are called Chatishloki Bhagavata. And there is elaborate description by all our acharyas in the purports. Prabhupada brought them into these purports. Aham evasamevagre nanyad yad sad asat param paschadaham yedetaccha yo shishyeta sosmiham. Hridyardham yat pritiyeta na pritiyeta chapmani tad vijjat atmanomayam yatha bhasu yatha tamaha yatha mahanti bhutani bhuteshu chavacheshvanu pravistani apravistani tatha teshu natpeshvaham एतावदेव जिज्ञासं तत्त्वज्ञासमात्मनः अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्यं यत् स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा. The first statement, it says that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is nothing else which is independent. So everything is resting on me. I am before the creation, during the creation, after the creation. It is me. That is the first statement. Second statement is the anything which is not connecting to me, that is the illusory thing, which is having association with me, that has got a reality in it. That is the second statement. Rutyardham yat pratyeta na pratyeta chakmani. That is second statement. Third statement is how Lord enters into this cosmos. Yata mahanti bhutani bhuteshu chavacheshvanu pravistani apravistani tatateshu natveshvaham. So our body is made by the material ingredients: earth, water, fire, and ether, and then wind. So, but still, those elements are separate, even though our body is made. So that way, he is Yata Mahanti Bhutani likewise, he also enters into this material universe and also he is outside of it. The ingredients are also existing in the parts of the living entities. At the same time, they are separate. Likewise, the entire cosmic manifestation is also created by the Lord. At the same time, it is separately from the Lord. So if it is the analogy, that is the third statement. And the fourth statement, from everyone's personal endeavor, research, and everything, they have to come to the point that Supreme Personality of Godhead, He is the ultimate, He is the only cause. Etavad जिज्ञासं तत्विज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्यं यत् स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा. In all times and places and circumstances, whatever the research he goes, he has to come only to me. That is the ultimate thing. These are the four statements in a nutshell, and later on, these are called Chatushloki Bhagavata, and all acharyas, they have explained more in detail. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. And what about in Bhagavad Gita also there are Chaturshloki?
Yes.
So same shlokas are there or different?
It's a different shlokas. That is 10th chapter, verses 8, 9, 10, 11. There are also similar statements. Here, Chatishloki Bhakta, Aham Mevasam the Lord says. There, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha Matta Sarvam Pravartate, Iti Matva Bhajante Mam Bhudabhava Samanvitaha. Krishna says the same statement. Likewise, the rest of the slokas follow, which are compatible to these four shlokas.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Thanks, Prabhu. I'm sorry because I'm not a regular listener, so that's why I miss so many things.
Yeah, even the sages, they also know already, or they know or they don't know, but still inquiry is made. So that is how one gets the knowledge. And even though one is inquiring, other people are also benefited.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Any other additions, dear devotees? Any questions? Or you wanted to share any realizations? So now we completed this part, but of course these parts again, they will come as when we are doing one shloka a day. It will come later on in the future months. But so from next Saturday, we are going to enter into the kingdom of God. This is the third canto, and chapter number 15, we would see very beautiful pastimes, the kingdom of Godhead. So this is description of the kingdom of God. There, how beautiful, how people are doing, and how Kumaras are seeing the Vaikuntha planets. They are glorified very beautifully, and the conversations between Kumaras and the Dwarapalakas, the Lord comes when he is coming with all his beautiful opulences, and he is being glorified. And later on, Kumaras, by seeing them, they are glorifying the Lord. They are very beautiful. So we shall be going in here from next Saturday onwards.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One more thing. I have heard in so many shlokas, Rishi Deval and Rishi Asit, their name is mentioned, but I haven't heard about any glories of them or if they have said anything in literature or I never. It's just their name comes again and again in the shlokas. So who are they, Prabhu?
So Devarshi Narada, this is we know already about the Devarshi Narada, and about the Devala Rishi and Devala Asita. So Devala and Asita we could see in the Srimad Mahabharata. And then one of the rishis, so Pandava's priest, his name is Daumya, and Daumya's brother is either Devala Rishi or Asita, one of them, or his brother, Daumya's brother. And they have been glorified in the as a authoritative Devala Rishi, Asita Rishi. So I think we could, I don't know if we have got these details. So this is Prabhupada. 12 and 13. So this is Asito Devulo Vyasaha. So here the purport, let us see Prabhupada has given any details about Asita and Devala. Or dear devotees, if you got any knowledge, kindly share. Meanwhile, okay, so here I don't see here about Asita and Devala. Okay, so they are kind of like Markandeya Rishi also comes into the Mahabharata. So he come and speak to Pandavas about his pastimes. All the sages uh, who are been meditating for a very long time and completely surrendered themselves to the Supreme Lord.
Okay.
So let us see this. Asita is going to be mentioned somewhere. Let me just check this one in the way. If we search here in this one, so we'll see some information here. Asita. Related to Asita, related to Asita. There are, if you wanted to see Mahabharata told by Krishna Dharma, Asita Gautamatri. So let us go and see this one what is happening here. So this is Asita Devalavyas. Now yourself declaring to me. This is from Mahabharata. Mahabharata second and fourth. Just I'm trying to find who about the details. Asita and Devala. I don't see here. It is just indication of their names. This is should okay. Let us see this one. Okay, so Devalavyasa. This is again once again. All virtuous sages had their mind and senses under full control. They look like so many full moons. They look like so many full moons shining amid the assembly. These are a few informations. Again. So if you just click on this one, so typing these names, then we'll see
Okay.
about their pastimes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Paul. It's all right. Thank you, Paul.
They are coming just as part of the circumstances only. But if we read this Mahabharata, then we understand a little bit more. But as it otherwise we need to check in the internet, but we need to make sure that whether it is a authorized literature or not.
Yeah.
So Kaladevala, so Kanarshi is a hermetic of the Buddhist sources having lived in ancient India. So this will bring Gautama Buddha. Yeah, it will deviate us to a different topic.
It's okay, Prabhu. I'll try to find out.
So for now, we understand that they are the sages for now, but they have appeared in the Mahabharata.
Okay. Thanks, Prabhu. It's all right.
So if you're all happy, then we shall conclude and continue with further japa. Or if dear devotees, if you wanted to add anything, kindly add. Or you wanted to share anything. Or you wanted to speak out your heart, you wanted to share something, kindly share. Okay, so if there are no updates, then we shall continue with further japa. पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनन्तकोटिवैष्णवभक्तवृन्द की जय। Hare Krishna consciously all the devotees.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful class. Hare Bol. If you all could quickly say it, please loud Hare Bols to Prabhu. It will be really nice. Hare Bol. Hare Bol. Hare Bol.
Word to all the devotees. Thank you so much. And all those to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda